Hey guys, how you going? This video I'm going to show you how to play Hound Dog by Elvis, and this is a really simple song to play if you're playing in a group and you want to sort of have someone playing the riff or the little bass line lead and you want to play chords, or if you just want to play the chords for yourself and sing along. This is a really cool song to do that because it's a 12-bar blues. So what a 12-bar blues is, if you haven't gone through the blues module in my course, it's a chord progression that goes over 12 bars. Okay, it's not very original really in the naming of it. So we've got 12 bars and there are certain chords that go in a certain order for those 12 bars. Now you'll find a lot of blues music uses this formula, and there's little variations on a basic 12-bar blues, but most of them follow the formula of the first chord, the fourth chord, and the fifth chord in the key. So what a key is an order of chords that go together really nicely, if you think of it like that, and there's a huge amount of theory that goes in behind what particular chords go in a key. But say if we're in the key of C, I'll just tell you we don't have any sharps and flats in the key of C. So if we spell out our alphabet, starting from C, we have C, D, E, F, and G. And then A, B, C, okay, as we come up. But let's just get to the fifth, right? So we've got C, D, E, F, and G. Now, for a 12-bar blues, and for any kind of 12-bar blues, really, we only look at the major chords. Now, in any key, the major chords are going to be the first chord, the fourth chord, and the fifth chord. So we have C, F, and G. C, F, and G. So if you look at Hound Dog, you'll notice that the chords are C, F, and G, right? So there's a big surprise there. Now let me flick back to that page and I'll show you what's going on with the arrangement, right, of the chords. What order does it go in? So this is tablature. What we're going to do is play 4 beats of C. So all of this information in there at the moment, don't worry about. I'm just going to show you the chords, and then we're going to do this part in here, which is the bass line that goes behind it. So we have our time signature here, which is 4 beats in a bar, and we're going to, this is a bar line, right? So we're going to play 4 beats in this section, 4 beats in this section, another 4, and another 4. So we have 4 bars of C, all right? So that's what we're going to do to start with. Then we come down and we play 4 beats and another 4 beats of F, so 8 beats of F. Then we go to C, we play 4 beats and another 4 beats, so 8 beats of C. So we've gone C for 4 bars, F for 2 bars, back to C for 2 bars. Then the last little section, we have G for only 1 bar, F for 1 bar, and then we have C for our 2 bars at the end. Now you notice down here I've got lots of little triplets, okay? So remember, this is the melody or the bass line that's coming through. For Hound Dog, it's the drums, okay? We actually don't need to play this section here in C. So if you were playing along to the track or with a band, we would just stop playing and we let the drums take over. Doodle 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 dum. That's kind of the ending part. And I'll link up Hound Dog so you can have a listen, all right? That way you really get a feel of what it sounds like. So we've got this last 8 beats in a 12-bar blues is what we call a turnaround. And usually this is the section that they will do a funny little riff or lick or something like that that takes you back to the beginning of the 12-bar blues. So this chord progression, this order of chords, repeats, and it repeats and repeats and repeats for the entire song. So it's awesome. This is how people improvise. So if you're playing in a band and you've got someone who sort of comes up and says, oh, let's play in the key of C, then you can really just go, okay, well I need C, F and G, and they're going to be the chords I'm going to use. I'm going to do 4 bars of C and then 2 of F and 2 of C and then G, F, C. And the other player is going to be doing the same thing too, because as musicians we've learnt a 12-bar blues and that's kind of the bread and butter of blues music. So let's have a look at how this works again, and we will have a bit of a play along. So if we started with C, the way Elvis will do it, he sings you ain't nothing but a, and then he goes into the chord, right? So we would start with that section. I keep forgetting how to start the song. I was doing this the other day in a class, and they were all laughing at me because I just couldn't remember the opening part. Once I'm going, I'm okay. So you've got, was it, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Turn around, back up to the top, right? And then we would continue on with that C. So notice how, when we were playing along, we had the never caught a rabbit is the G, never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine, diddle-a-diddle-a-diddle-a-dum, back up the top. And then we would go back up the top. This is a repeat sign, the double bar lines with 2 dots. We come up to the top. Yeah, they said you were high class, that was just a lie. Yeah, they said you were high class, that was just a lie. You ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Up the top again. And then what he would do is keep playing the chord progression, and this is the instrumental part. So we don't even have to change the chords, they're just riffing over the top. Then we've got the turnaround. Right, and that goes back into it. Crying all the time. So that's all we have to do. Once we know that order of chords, we can play the whole song, which is awesome. Okay, let me show you how to do the bass line. So when you have a listen to Hound Dog, it's got this nice double bass playing in the background. Doom, 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 right? You can kind of hear it. Make sure you listen to the track, because often what we remember and actually what is written is quite different. So go and have a listen and see, and try to pick up on the bass line. That way it will be easy. So if we start having a look at the C here, let me see what I can do. Hang on. So if I hop over here, I can actually play this if I play at the top, and you can have a listen to how it goes. Okay, so you notice that it started again, right? It went up the top. And did you hear the little triplet down here? So that's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These big fat egg notes down here, they're 4 beats. So when it's joined together with this little bar, which says 3, it's actually counted 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. Now that's fast. If you're playing that, that's hard, okay? I tend to use my finger and my nail, and I'm alternate picking and I'm going up and down. When we do that, up and down picking, we can get fast because it's more ergonomic. What I tend to do if I'm playing this song though is I'll hold the chord of C and I do a triple strum. So 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's an option. I find that a little bit more comfortable than trying to trying to get that really fast on the string. it's actually the drummer's job, okay? So we're trying to be all things here, okay? We're ukulele players. We're not drummers. We've got to realise there's a bass player and a guitarist and a singer and a drummer, okay? So when we're trying to do anything acoustically, just be aware of that it's not going to sound identical, okay? It takes a huge amount of pressure off. All right, so let's have a look at the I actually noticed, hang on, let me just join that together. That just sounded a bit strange when it was playing through. That should be tied. So when you see notes like this and they're tied together, you hold it for what will be 1.5 beats. This is also 1.5 beats, and here's a 1 beat note. So when we're adding them up, 1.5, 1.5, and the 1, we have our 4 beats in a bar. That gets a bit more complicated than what you need, I think, in here, but if you're looking at it, we want to go long, long, quick, long, long, quick, long, long, quick. We want to feel that sort of length on these two, and a shorter note here. This isn't super quick, by the way. It's still 1 beat, but it's faster than these two. Okay, so let's have a look. Now, the way this works is, sorry, I'm flicking around between screens. I hope it's not too distracting. We have got a pattern in a 12-bar blues, as much for the riffs and the licks as we do for the chords. So once we know the pattern, it's really quite simple. We get to move the pattern up and down the neck. We stay within that pattern and we don't change, okay? Now this pattern is going to be, I'm just going to blow myself up, hang on, not like that. Okay, so if we've got the 2 opens, you'll notice in your tab it says open 3rd string, open 2nd string, and then it says 3rd fret. Okay, now we don't want to be playing with our 1st finger here. Really, we would use our 3rd finger, okay? We want to try to keep our fingers in alignment. The other reason for this is we want to create some muscle memory around this riff so that when we play it, we can move it up and we're not having to learn a whole new pattern, okay? So if we can play it the same way with the same fingers and then we just move it up like a robot, then the same fingers just do their job and it's going to, be in tune, okay? It's going to play the right notes. So let's have a look for Hound Dog. So if we're playing open, open, 3 on the 2nd string. By the way, all of these notes are going to be on the middle 2 strings, okay? You'll notice in the music that it's not on the 1st string or on the 4th string. So we just use our thumb to brush, open, open, 3, open, open, 3. Now this pattern, this open, open, 3, that's 4 beats, and that's going to be the pattern that we use every time there's a C chord. Now, this is the cool part. You can do this pattern for any 12-bar blues that you come across where there's a C chord, because what we're doing is we're playing C, E, and G. They are the actual notes that go into making up a C chord. So we're just arpeggiating the chord. We're just now, what we're doing is riffing around the notes in the chord. Okay, so this is where it becomes cool to understand this on some level so that you can start to manipulate it and play it through other songs that you come across. So if we're playing open, open, 3, now this pattern is the 1st, 3rd, and 5th, right, the notes of the chord, then theoretically I can move that and it will just change the names of the notes, and if I'm starting on a C, it will be the C chord. If I start on an F, it's going to be working around the F chord, G, F, C, right? So you can sort of see hopefully what's happening there. Everything is moving by exactly the same increments. So when I'm going opens, if you imagine I'm playing these with my finger just for giggles, right, just so you can see the pattern, I'm going open, open, and then 3 on the 3rd fret. So I'm leaving 2 frets between the open string that I'm playing on the 2nd string and the 3rd fret, right? There's 2 in between. So when I come up to here, imagine in your mind's eye that the ukulele is cut off from the 5th fret, this would now be my open string, jump 2 frets and come out, and we play the next note. So for F, we've got F, A, C, which makes up an F chord. You don't need to know that. All you need to remember is the pattern. So this pattern of opens, jump 2 frets and come out, doesn't matter where I put my finger. If I started here on D, that would be my D chord. There's my E, F, G, A, right? And then I'd be back. All right, so it's really interesting how we can move this shape up the neck. That first note, that open string, will be our note of the tonic note in the chord. Okay, so the beginning note, the name note of the chord. So if I'm starting here on C, that's my C chord. If I bring my first finger up to the 5th fret on the 3rd string, this one is F. So when we are playing Hound Dog, let's have a look on here. Can't see it quite as well. So when you have a look here with this F, 5, 5, 8, it's the same difference in numbers as 0, 0, 3. Okay, so between 0, then you'd have fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. Same with between the number 5 and the number 8. So these two notes were on the same fret. So are these. If you have a look down for G, which, hang on, can't see, down here, then you'll see they're both 7s. We're back to the 5s. 5s are F, and the opens are the Cs. So once you know this one bar, right, so once you know this part here, you know the whole song. Okay, that's I'm really trying to simplify this for people, because I find that a lot of the time, a lot of lessons like this, they'll show you how to play it, but they're not going to explain the music behind it, right? So then you start to have to learn each song individually, and that's tough, okay, because you think it could be anything. And the reality is that it actually can't be anything. It's going to have a formula and a code. So my job as a teacher is to decode this. So if we have a look, this first bar, if we can remember this pattern, we can play the whole song. There's our starting point of C. Here's our starting point of F. So F is going to be on the 5th fret, on the 3rd string. Then we go back to, we do that twice, right? Just like we did for the chords. And then we go back down to our C. And that's what we had to do for another 2 bars. Then we're going to go to our G. So we come up to the 7th. Then we're going to go down to F, and then we've got our little triplets of C, or the drummer, daddle-a-daddle-a-daddle-a-daddle-a-dum. All right, now we could daddle-a-daddle-a-daddle-a-daddle-a-dum, do something like that if you wanted to do a bit of a drum beat on the body of the instrument, or you could play C, right? You could do something like that as well. So how does this fit? So if you've got someone just strumming the chords, I was just doing an island strum before. I like this one with a little chuck in there as well. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. Sounds cool. Always default to a down-up strum if they're too tricky, okay? Don't try doing tricky chords and tricky notes and everything while you're learning a song, okay? Much more important that you're strumming on time and for the right amount of beats before you start adding to strumming patterns. Don't worry about strumming patterns, they will come. Once everything else is on autopilot, you have to have your chords on autopilot before you can start doing trickier things with your strumming. So let's have a look at how the riff fits in. Now this is the bass, so we're ukuleles. We're not going to be as cool as the bass players, okay? Debatable. Maybe we're super cool. They just don't know it yet. All right, so you go, oh, what is it? He ain't nothing. I ain't, shoot. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't never caught I'm doing a little palm mute on there to make it sound a little bit less sort of ringy, I guess. It makes it sound a little bit more bumpy and thumpy, like a bass would. That again is just a technique that you can choose to put in if you want to. You'll notice also when I took it up to the 5th fret, I was actually barring the middle 2 strings. Right, I just find that's a little bit more ergonomic for me, but I have the strength in my hand. If you wanted to jump it down, that would be quite fine, because it's actually quite staccato, those first 2 notes. You don't really want this nice sort of smoothness running through it. It's quite fine to have it short and snappy. So I hope that's helped, and have a look at actually have a listen to Hound Dog if you haven't heard it for a while. Remember that in the instrumental parts, it is just the 12-bar blues, so just keep rolling through that C, F and G chord. It's very fast, okay? This is the other thing to think about. It's probably going to be initially too fast to play to the music. So if you want to pull it up on YouTube, you can go to the little cog setting down the bottom and slow it down to 0.75. That just slows it down enough that you'll be able to sort of play at this speed, because they're sort of quite fast. Ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Ain't nothing but a hound dog. Right, so it's fast. You've got to be able to move around quite quickly and get up to, you know, those dots fast from down here. Spot the dot, spot 7 and get to it really quickly. So practice that open 7, open 7, open 7, right? Sort of back and forward until you've nailed that part. So have a go with Hound Dog. It's really cool. It's actually a really nice one to play and just have a strum through. So go back to the C, F and G chords and yeah, see how you find that one. I'd love to hear if you found that one cool or not. Okay, catch you soon. Bye.